We're going to start big. What would you say are the biggest problems in the education labor market today?
Well, I mean, the big picture is the difficulty of getting effective teachers into the classroom and keeping them in the classroom once they're there.
When you think about how these labor market issues are discussed in the media and in policy spheres, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that jump to your mind?
One thing, given the work I've done, is there seems to be a misconception that we're facing big shortages of teachers. And while it's true that there are shortages in particular areas, it's not across the board. So um, I think we need to target policies toward areas where it is difficult to attract and retain teachers, areas like secondary math and science or special education. So it's not that it's an across the board problem, but a problem in specific subject areas and also in particular kinds of schools. So certainly schools in urban core areas serving disadvantaged populations are face much greater challenges in trying to attract and retain teachers.
Everybody loves solutions, right? Policy wonks talk about the quest for the silver bullet. You've done a good bit of work examining the impact of labor market solutions, especially loan forgiveness and retention bonuses. Can you share with us a little bit about what you've learned from these solutions?
My colleague Lee Fung and I did some work looking at a longstanding program in Florida. And it had a variety of components. Loan forgiveness was part of it. There also was some tuition reimbursement for teachers wanting to move into certain subject areas. And for a short while, they also had a bonus program for teachers. And what we found was that these financial incentives did have important impacts on the likelihood that teachers would stay in the profession. In particular, the loan forgiveness program, which paid teachers compensation for the loans they incurred in college, did significantly reduce attrition, at least for as long as they were receiving the loan forgiveness payments. And likewise, we found some pretty big effects for monetary bonuses that were contingent on staying in teaching.
So one of the problems that loan forgiveness is intended to solve is attrition, right? To reduce attrition rates. Are there other problems that this could be used as a strategy to solve?
You know, the loan forgiveness may attract more people into teaching if they know that their college debt will eventually be paid off. That's not something we've looked at in our research. We're focused more on the impact of retaining existing teachers. But potentially it could improve the overall supply of people going into the teaching labor force.
All right, and in a differential way. So as you mentioned, the folks that typically go into education come from one part of the distribution, the lower part of the distribution. But with stronger incentives, then we might be able to pull some of the folks that are considering, that are kind of driven by that profit motive, that are thinking about engineering because it pays more from the upper end. If we can give them a good rationale to get into teaching, that might be a good mechanism to do that.
Right. I mean, so the areas that we see tend to have shortages are areas like special ed or high school math and science, where typically individuals have good outside alternatives. So students that are strong in math and science could go into non-teaching areas, and even special ed. There's a variety of options, either in the private school sector or in various non-educational programs where their talents could be used. So, it really gets at the heart of the issue is that these shortages are occurring in areas where teachers have good alternatives. And traditionally, teachers have all been paid the same no matter what their subject area. And that's partly what leads to these shortage problems.
Depending on the structure of the policy, loan forgiveness programs can be thought of as a strategy to shift some of the salary burden from the local level to the state or federal level, depending on who's facilitating the loan reimbursement. What are the implications of this centralizing shift?
one potential disadvantage would be that at the local level, they may have better information about teachers in their labor market, what incentives are most appropriate, maybe better able to target those incentives to the most effective teachers. On the other hand, local school districts are constrained in terms of resources. So, no doubt, having assistance at the state or federal level is going to help a lot of districts that have financial constraints, particularly those in rural areas that we talked about before, face problems in trying to attract and retain teachers.
Can you give us an example of when knowing the problem isn't enough to solve it?
One of the big challenges we face is over the last several years we've gotten clear evidence of the importance of teachers in student learning, and that having a good teacher is extremely valuable, not only in terms of student achievement, but later life outcomes, employment, wages, and so forth. But the vexing problem we have is trying to identify early on who's going to be a good teacher, and what it really is that determine who's going to be a successful and effective teacher, and what makes for a good teacher. A lot of people have been pushing hard on this, and we still don't have a lot of answers.
Thanks for joining us, Tim. This was wonderful.